At the same time, you can call the Brightside Ben phone team at 866-735-2470. You can also head over to my website, brightsideben.com, and click on the Join the Team link. If you want to purchase any longevity products, they can help you at the Brightside Ben phone team, 866-735-2470, or you can pull down on the shopping cart at brightsideben.com. And I also want to encourage you to check out my blog, pharmacistben.com. If you want to search any programs, you can take a look at benfuchsarchives.com. Thank you to Peter in the UK for setting that up for us. There's a neat search engine there, and you can search for specific topics that we've talked about over the last 3 years now, doing the Brightside program. And of course, all the shows are archived at brightsideben.com via the GCN network. Okay, let's see here. Methylation, super mega important process that occurs in the body. Methylation is basically a piece of carbon, a chunk of carbon, getting stuck onto different chemicals. It activates the chemicals. These methyl chunks, methyl groups they call them, are carried around in the body via various transporters, little shuttles that sort of carry a methyl group on, then donate that methyl group wherever that methyl group needs to be donated. So making sure you got enough of these methyl carriers is a very important strategy. You can eat foods that contain methyl carriers, and it's mostly going to be living foods or live foods, pretty much all veggies, organ meats, flesh foods, seafood. They're going to get you methyl groups as long as those foods are reasonably fresh. Over time, methyl groups become less available as foods lose their freshness and the life force and just starts to dissipate and methyl carriers break down. This is one of the big problems associated with processed foods and getting most of your calories from processed foods, as many of us are doing. Foods that are heavily processed contain a lot less methyl carriers. These methyl carriers, methyl groups, they're all associated with living and live foods, and you're going to get a lot less of these if you're eating processed foods, although enrichment can improve methyl carrier content. That's one of the things that enriched flours do, is they replace, the enrichment process replaces the methyl carriers that are lost by food processing. How about if we just don't process our foods as much? How about if we just don't eat as much processed food and try to subsist as much as we can on living and live foods? There's also nutritional supplements that we can use that carry methyl groups. We can help improve the methylation process using nutritional supplements. There's lots of them. One of the most important is something called SAMe. Last we spoke, yesterday anyway, we were talking about this very important SAMe element. SAMe comes from methionine. Methionine is an important amino acid. It's a raw material for the most important, probably the most important of all the methyl group carriers, SAMe. SAMe can be thought of as an activated version of methionine. Methionine gets switched on and becomes a methyl carrier via some very interesting chemical processes. We won't get into that, but basically it just gets activated and it becomes SAMe. That turns methionine into a very, very important methyl carrier. Methionine itself is really important. Methionine itself does lots of things in the body. Methionine is a source of sulfur. Methionine is an important detox element. Methionine gets converted into lecithin, the same stuff that's found in eggs and vegetables, the same stuff you can buy in a health food store, same stuff we talk about all the time when we talk about improving the body's ability to process fats. And that means that methionine is going to be important for all the fatty systems of the body, especially the brain, and especially the brain of a cell, the membrane. I love that. The membrane is actually the brain of a cell. The membrane, the cell membrane, is largely composed of lecithin. That means methionine is going to be important for the information processing of a cell. And we said so many times on this program, all disease is cell disease, and all cell disease is cell membrane disease. So keeping that cell membrane strong and healthy is very important, and that's where lecithin comes in. And methionine is actually converted into lecithin. You can even think of lecithin as a type of souped-up methionine. Lecithin is also important for healing the digestive system. It's also important for helping the digestive system process fats. Bodybuilders, athletes know that methionine can help with fat processing and fat burning. You'll see methionine in a lot of weightlifting supplements and a lot of fat burning supplements. But for all the roles that methionine plays in the body, none is more important than its conversion into the active form, the element called SAMe, and that's capital SAM dash little e, SAMe. SAMe, this activation of methionine to SAMe turns methionine into a super mega methyl group carrier. SAMe is not really an essential nutrient itself. Methionine is an essential nutrient, but SAMe is not really an essential nutrient. It's not one of the mighty 90 essential nutrients. But even though it itself is not essential, it has very, very important roles to play in multiple systems of the body. It has roles to play that cannot be fulfilled by plain old unactivated, even though it's essential, methionine. The fact that SAMe is an activated version of another nutrient means that you don't really have to get SAMe in the diet. You don't have to really get SAMe as a supplement as long as you're getting enough methionine. But because activation is required and because activation requires energy, and sometimes we don't really activate methionine as well as we should, especially if we're sick or toxic or we're nutritionally deficient, it might not be a bad idea to supplement with a little SAMe. SAMe can be considered not an essential nutrient in the sense that you absolutely have to have it, but it may be a conditionally essential nutrient, which means it's not technically a must-have. You don't absolutely have to have it as a supplement, but because it's conditionally essential, it might be a good idea to make sure you're supplementing with SAMe. Famous article, that oftentimes quoted article that appeared in the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition a couple years ago referred to SAMe as a super nutrient, meaning that it's an activated nutrient that must be provided in the diet or via supplementation when production is messed up due to some kind of disease state. Back in the 1990s, when I first started really getting into studying nutrition, SAMe was popular as an antidepressant and an energizer, and there's some very interesting reasons why that is. SAMe, as important as it is for all the systems of the body, it's especially important for the brain, and I will tell you about that tomorrow. I want to get to our phones a little early today. We've got a bunch of calls, and I want to see if we can get to as many calls as possible. Tomorrow, we'll talk about SAMe and why it's important for brain health if you're dealing with bipolar disorder, or you're dealing with depression, or you have a serotonin problem, that you're giving you Prozac or Effexor. You may want to think about supplementing with SAMe. We'll talk about that tomorrow. On the bright side, let's go to our phones a little early today. 855-660-4261 is our number. June in North Carolina. Welcome to the bright side. What's going on? June. Got June?
Yes.
Hey, June, what's cooking?
Thank you, Ben, for having me on.
Sure.
I have been treated for hypertension for the last 15 or 20 years with traditional medicines.
It's not doing much good, is it? It's not doing seem to be helping. You still have high blood pressure?
Yes.
Okay.
About 3 or 4 years ago, I started amlodipine 10 milligrams and Atacan. It wasn't too bad.
Yeah.
But about 3 months ago, I exhibited very high WBC. And certainly was recommended that I do the traditional bone marrow testing, etc.
Okay, hang tight, Joe. We got to take a break, and I'm going to help you with that hypertension because it's really easy to deal with, and you don't need drugs to do it. In fact, antihypertensive drugs are among the deadliest drugs you could ever use, and I'll tell you why when we come back from our break. I'm Pharmacist Ben. You're listening to The Bright Side. We'll be back right after this. Don't go away.
By now you know that wireless technology like cell phones do in fact pose dangers to the health and privacy of everyone. Block-It Pocket's wide range of products are unmatched in providing the protection you deserve. No scare tactics, just common sense. BlockItPocket.com offers quality American-made options to alleviate and eliminate these invisible dangers. Learn more at BlockItPocket.com or call 888-315-9618. BlockItPocket.com, enhancing health and privacy.
Are you hungry for delicious, nutritious, rich, and satisfying home-cooked meals? Discover the Vita Clay 4-in-1 Smart Organic Cooker. Unglazed Zisha Clay, an ancient secret that makes this fast multi-cooker so special. Infusing your food with incredible flavors, perfect texture, vitamins, and minerals for your good health. It's a slow cooker, rice cooker, a steamer, plus a yogurt maker. Go to VitaClayChef.com and enter promo code RADIO20 for 20% off at checkout. That's VitaClayChef.com.
You pick up the receiver with your heart racing and sweat dripping from your forehead. You finally muster the courage to dial the number to call into your favorite talk radio show. It rings once, twice, and then...
Hello, it's GCN. What's your name and the state you're calling from?
Surprised you got through, you squeak out.
Jason from Minnesota.
Please hold.
As you patiently wait for your turn, you begin to daydream about being a famous talk radio host and what it would be like to have your own show.
Jason from Minnesota, you're up.
Millions of loyal listeners worldwide waiting to call and talk to you. you.
Caller, are you there?
Cheering crowds surround you, calling out your name.
Going once, twice. Okay, we gotta move on to the next caller.
You blew it.
Huh? Wait, no!
Interact with the host you're listening to right now, online at GCNlive.com. Click on the community link. Engage with other listeners. Ask questions. Start debates. Don't agree with the host? Let them know. Be a part of the community at GCNlive.com.
So who else will you meet at the Get Prepared Expo? For starters, from Republic Broadcasting, John Moore and John Statmiller. From GCN, Aaron and Brad Dakins, Joyce Riley, and me, Vincent Finelli. Joining us are the instructors whom you've learned to trust. Surgeon of the Year, Dr. Norman Shuley. Engineer, Matt Stein. The real Fox Mulder of the X-Files, Dr. Richard Allen Miller. Author and analyst, Captain John Reagan. Your counter-terrorist from Central America, Mike Ma. Dental center owner and my dentist, Dr. Howard Shane. Radiation instructor, Craig Douglas. Author and survivalist, Rich Sheehan. Author, Judy Dollarhite. Cancer center owner from Mexico, Dr. Patrick Vickers. Bug-out expert and pilot, Captain Bill Sermo. Beekeeper, Jeff Maddox. Seedsman, Mike Knox. Author, Gayla Pruitt. Author, Harry Cooper. Food expert, Joe Acapinti. And Bill Whaley, the junk man. March 27, 28, and 29. GetPreparedExpo.com, the largest preparedness and survival expo in the USA.
As if chlorine in our water weren't bad enough, now they're adding ammonia?
It's true. Some municipalities are now adding ammonia plus chlorine to your water supply. It's a disinfectant called chloramine. But with a trusted Big Berkey water filter, you can keep chloramine out of your water. New NSF EPA certified lab tests show EPA Berkey water filters remove chloramines, pharmaceuticals, BPA, pesticides, bacteria and viruses, all forms of fluoride, and much more. Big Berkey water filters are the original and most trusted on the market. The gold standard in water purification. And our filters last for years at less than 2 cents per gallon. Big Berkey, the one that's powerful enough to purify stagnant pond water. Get your Big Berkey today. Call 1-877-99-BERKEY or click BigBerkeyWaterFilters.com. That's 1-877-99-BERKEY. Big Berkey Water Filters, for the love of clean water.
If the IRS has garnished your paycheck or seized money from your bank account, you need to get professional tax help now. Fast action is required to put a halt to these aggressive IRS collection tactics. You can count on the knowledgeable team of tax professionals at Wall & Associates. With over 30 years of experience, Wall & Associates has settled the tax problems of thousands of taxpayers for a small fraction of what they owed. For a free face-to-face consultation, call 1-800-425-4610 to put a wall between you and the IRS. 1-800-425-4610 or look for us on the web at wallandassociates.net. We solve tax problems. If you hire Wall & Associates today, you'll never have to talk to the IRS again. To stop the levies and seizures today, take action now. Call Wall & Associates at 1-800-425-4610. Wall & Associates. 1-800-425-4610. Based on actual cases, results may vary, not a solicitation for legal services.
Free from the shackles of corporate America, we're the place for independent thinkers. GCN.
We're back on the bright side. I am Pharmacist Ben. We're in North Carolina talking to June about high blood pressure. June, you there, my dear?
Yes, I am.
All right, couple things. Let me just say, because I don't need to hear the grim details as much, as interesting as they might be.
Could I tell you one other thing that happened? Because of the high WBC, I opted to instead go for vitamins and supplements to include BTT.
Okay.
So I am now doing 12 of these. My
12
blood
what?
pressure is 12 vitamins and supplements.
Okay.
Including BTT.
Okay.
My blood pressure is continuing to average very low, 110/72.
Oh, okay.
And my question then is whether or not I may be getting even a lower blood pressure than I should, and that the Atacan and the supplements that it's too much.
Yeah, you might be able to wean yourself off of the medicine. That's what you should be looking at doing. There's lots of toxicity associated with those drugs. No toxicity with the supplements. So if you're dropping your blood pressure nicely, you may want to ask your doctor about weaning yourself off the medication. And you might want to ask the doctor to take a look at the package insert so he can see the side effects of these medications for himself. He may not know